There you go. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we have the minutes of May 31st.
You want to add the library request?
Oh, right. I've got to our agenda. Let's see, the library has a program they'd like to hold on the Common on, let's see, July 9th, if I recall. So we'll add that. And then, moving on, we have the minutes of May 31st.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for May 31st.
Well, second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have warrants 25, 25P, and from the Recreation Board, number 8.
Make a motion, we approve warrants 25, 25P, and our rec board number 8.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Warrant 25 is for $32,693.98, and that was going to, among other things, fuel our rescue monthly payment. Big chunk was going to the county tax. There were payroll transfers and fluoride for the road. Any other discussion, comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Let's see. We have, under ARPA funding, the Historical Society, they've put in a request for $1,900 for some exterior painting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request from the Historical Society for $1,900 for exterior painting.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Yes.
I would just like to make a comment on this because there's a little confusion, and I guess I'm the one that's mostly confused. I thought we were going to paint the whole building, and it turns out that we're not, but I'm still not sure of what we are painting. But what I would like to see is at least the whole frontal part that shows be all either look good or painted. And I'm not sure that that amount of money would go for it, but and I don't know if you have any extra money, but you know, we need to have it looking good. So Chuck and I disagree, so you can tell him what you think it is.
I was going to send an email to everybody about this.
The wording's funny.
Some time ago, Bob Taylor and I met with Jeff Dixon, and Muriel may have been there also, and we walked around the building, looked at it carefully, and what is in this proposal is what the painter recommended, as he thought it was right, adequate for protection of the building. And so that's why, if my memory is wrong, then somebody can correct me, but so that's why the proposal is as it is. Now, if they want to give us more money so we can even do a more complete job, that's fine with me. But that's why it's $1,900, and that's why the description is as it is. So that's just background information.
But it's the description that's deceiving to me, the way it talks. I think it goes the whole front of the building. You think it just goes to the first addition, to the older building.
To the corner where the first L begins, yeah.
So that's our problem.
Yeah, I'm wondering what this, yeah, if the select board wants to give us more money so we can do even more, that's fine with me. But I'm not quite sure why you and I are having this conversation right now, right here.
Well, you and I talked about it ahead of time, so, and
I guess we have a motion for the 1,900.
okay, and that's fine, and we just have to make do with that as far as it goes. So,
Any other discussion?
I'm in support of following the recommendations of the painter and not going beyond that at this point.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
You're
thank
very
you.
welcome. Let's see, okay, Eric, fine.
Hi, yes.
Let's see, you want to pull out a chair? And
Sure. Can I sit there?
You definitely can, sure.
Just turn around so everybody can see your face.
And do you know everyone?
Most people.
Okay, maybe.
Maria?
Maria?
Yes.
Louis White. Yep.
Alex?
Okay,
Zeke, I think I know you.
yep, okay. And you're here representing, you're going to speak to the Deerfield Valley.
Communications Union District.
Okay, great.
And Stephen John also, who is the chair of the
Okay, great.
board, is here as well.
Okay,
Good.
all right. Okay, and you're, let's see,
And Eric is our appointed representative to the DVFiber.
Eric is your voting member of our governing board, 24-member board, one representative from each member town of the Communications Unit District. And that has the complete authority to hire, approve plans. We're responsible for operations, maintenance, fees. They set the fees. This is not some private company setting fees. This is your municipal entity that is setting fees for service if people choose to connect. It's up to them.
Once they have the opportunity.
Yes, that's unfortunately the case. We haven't been able to figure out a way to connect all 24 towns at one time.
Right.
So,
That would be great.
okay, and so, let's see, you gave us information about this request, this ARPA request, months ago, but you're here to give us a review and
Answer any questions,
Yep.
etc.
later on in our
I know there are
we'll
some
be
concerns.
considering it.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're asking for $5,500 to expend.
Yeah, and so I guess now the request, since we missed the matching grant from the VCBB, so we had requested 11,100, and half of that would have been matched. So I mean, if the town had contributed 5,550, then the other half would have been matched by the Community Broadband Board. So I guess, John, is that correct, or now?
May 31st was the date on that. But certainly, any money that you contribute as a town under whatever requirements you choose as a select board would be more than welcome. I know the VLTC has recommended that this be considered a possibility for ARPA, from ARPA, so-called ARPA money. I presume, like Marlboro, you've taken it on as in lieu of revenues, and it's in your general fund at this point, but I don't know that much about your business particularly. But there are 11 towns that have contributed, and that turned out to yield 100 and down here. But anyway, in all, the match turned out to be over 120,000, something like that. So we really are pleased with the towns that took the initiative. Now, not surprisingly, towns that took the initiative on this are generally the towns who've been in line to be connected first, because they have the greatest number of people in need or not connected. But some exceptions do exist. Brookline donated $5,000. I'm going to check my chart here just to make sure I'm not misspeaking. And Brookline is $5,000, and then the other towns follow along, largely based on their size. Halifax has the greatest need. They donated $50,000. So Marlboro, my own town, was $25,000, and it really, the thing we realize, or thing I realize about all the select boards and all the towns, is they have different demands or different priorities for their ARPA funds. Brattleboro, Wilmington, actually Wilmington did donate something here. It was, let's see, 10,000. But it depends on what you have. I mean, if you have a wastewater district or you have a sewer that needs repair, like in Whitingham, it's not gonna, it's not going to happen. So I think, I can't gauge and advise you about what the other priorities are. I'm just telling you how the program works. Now, the money that has been donated, there's a form letter, and it has been donated with that form letter to assure the VCBB that we qualify for a match. But in your case, you know, your money would be accepted under whatever, like any donor to the municipality. You know, we're a nonprofit organization. People can donate money and, you know, write it off their taxes. But the amount is usually to help people get connected at this point, because there is a federal program for which we will soon be, we already registered, but we aren't yet certified because we don't have enough customers is largely the issue, although we've hired some FCC lawyers in Washington DC to get this figured out. There is a access to a service program, ACP it's called, by the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, and they're concerned about people being able to pay their phone bills, for example, on a monthly basis. Equally, this is a new program, particularly for broadband connection, for internet connection. And that subsidy would be $30, a maximum of $30 per month. Now that's not going to cover our minimum connection, but it certainly would help people. But what we are, and that's when we get customers. But before then, to get people connected, there are obstacles. You know, what's the initial cost of connection? The board just recently voted to make sure that the cost was free. It was a free connection for everybody by aerial connection that follows the poles. That would be at any length. Originally we were thinking that we'd have to limit our liability there, but we've done statistical analysis and it isn't worth it to hassle people about longer lengths. Well, we haven't had anybody say they want to get connected at a mile. You know, there may be some limit to the reasonableness there, but the complication is for a lot of people. I don't know about Dummerston, but in Marlboro, 25% of the people connect underground through power. There are 586 or something residents in Marlboro, and 181 of them are underground. Well, they're not underground; they connect underground. And then but the particular challenge would be for people in mobile homes. There may be some grandfathered in people who aren't connected underground, but you're supposed to be connected underground to power and telecommunications if you're in a mobile home. That's the best practice now, safety practice. So that's our standard, and the board has not taken on the liability of paying for the trenching and the conduit if somebody had to put it in. I mean, I have wire, I might think, gee, I'd like aesthetics, I wanted to put it underground, I'll get DVFiber to pay for that. That's not going to happen. The board's sharp enough to figure that, you know, our public money should not be invested in that kind of choice, let's say. But we are concerned that all the people who are of limited means are able to connect, and we don't want the cost of that trenching and so forth to that connection to be an obstacle. So that's the basis upon which towns previously were either subsidizing that connection or subsidizing people who had to pay for an additional aerial connection. But that since they donated that money, we've improved the benefit. Questions? That's really what you could decide in your letter. If you want to help people get connected, that's what the other towns have done.
Yeah, that's what this is basically support for folks that would not be able to afford that connection cost. It's over and above the, what is it, 300 feet, John?
Well, it was going to be 400 feet, but we, like I said, now we found there's so few people that are at greater distances that it's not, you know, the board has decided it's worth the public relations to offer free service, free connection for people regardless. Whether they're underground, we'll pay for the fiber and all that, but the underground work to prepare the conduit is the expense that the homeowner has to undertake. You know, we'll put the fiber through there. We'll connect you at any length. That won't be charged. And included in this connection is the ONT, that's the optical network card box outside your house, and then that also the electrical power by it's a 12-volt deal to connect, to transfer that light into electricity or Wi-Fi by your router inside your house. And also an 8-hour battery, 8 or 12-hour battery. I can't say what it's going to be quite yet, but it's a battery because if the power goes out, you want to still use your internet. And if you have your telephone on the internet, which will be a possible service with us if you like, well, you've got to have some backup power. And if your house doesn't have other backup means power, this battery certainly will be handy and will be obviously more dependable, at least for the first 8 or 12 hours.
I understand that there's a means consideration for this, that the funding, you know, we're not going to be...
Yeah, you're not going to be just giving the money to anybody that requests it. Or
they've got to be below a certain income
Yeah.
level. Can you explain that?
It's 2 times the federal poverty level.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the general way to put it. There are rules for the ACP program, the qualifying program for the subsidy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're inclined to try to follow those if push comes to shove. We are trying to figure out how to, nobody wants to set up their own local committee to decide this for people, at least maybe your town is different, but most select boards don't want to get into business of deciding who should get it and who doesn't. So that's going to leave it up to DVFiber to establish a committee to do that, and therefore assure the select boards that the money is being spent appropriately to get people connected. And then, of course, at some point, I know that the Marlboro board already suggested, well, if it isn't all spent, what do we do with the money? And I said, well, I give it back. And they said, well, we probably don't want to do that. We'll probably just help other people get connected, you know. But I mean, I'm just saying that you know, you have to anticipate that this amount is not going to necessarily match. Now, if it's insufficient, it's still our mission and goal and policy to get people connected. So that's DVFiber as a collaborative of the 24 towns to raise the money and find the charitable giving or foundation to be able to make sure that everybody gets connected. And Eric's going to hold us accountable. I mean, the select board, be it Eric. That's the importance of your voting member on this board.
So would funds that a town gives to DVFiber, will it benefit the residents of that town?
That's right. Yeah, it's set up as a separate line item in our budget or in our income, and then it's debited against that for the specific installations that required assistance in your town.
So of the $5,550, how many residents do you think that would connect?
Well, of course, it depends on the length. The estimate is $15 a foot for installation of conduit. Now, some people have conduit, and they may be able to reuse it if it's clear, you know, if it has enough capacity and it's not blocked. But that requires usually professional assessment. The homeowner would have to look into that and find somebody to take a look that was able to do this, because we don't want nobody wants our installers to arrive and then find that they can't get the fiber through there. You know, we want to prepare this for success. And in fact, although I don't think Dummerston has been surveyed yet, we were paying for a pre-connection survey so we know with each E911 address what the length of aerial or underground connection is, so that we can be, when you call up or when you want to get connected, our customer service people can tell you, how long it's going to take and what's involved. I do recommend publicly, I'm saying this everywhere now, if you're planning on getting connected and you are connected by underground conduit, look into it ahead of time. See what the situation is, because some people have bought a house and they don't know what the heck, who installed it or what. And Dummerston's on the verge of being connected this year, and not even next year, probably. That's a part of our 7 phases of connection. But you are all on the plan, every single 911 address. We're building to connect everybody. Whether you choose to take advantage of it or not is another issue. But that's really what our mission and what our grant from the VCBB obliges us to do. It has to be a universal service plan. You can't get by with just cherry picking the people that are, you know, close together and you know, can offset your costs as the private sector should do.
Maria, our analysis based on estimates is that there's roughly 40 people in town that would benefit from this. They could benefit from this if they chose to.
Yeah. 40
Yeah,
residences, 40
Right.
homes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we base that on a general estimate based on
averages.
averages, mean income and all that sort of thing.
Exactly.
It's not an exact thing. In the towns that are closer, like Halifax and Marlborough to be connected, we've actually done a survey, and I can speak to how many are really underground and how many of them now, there are 9 that are in mobile homes that I know of. Because I walk around and I ride around and figure it out. But, so you know, it appears that Marlborough has donated more money than is necessary, at least at this point. But, you know, we'll see how, that's what I'm saying. This is actually more important in terms of a public support and indication by the town that you want everybody to have the benefit of this fiber network. It really isn't at this point so much a case of us trying to raise $50,000 or $60,000 or whatever. Any amount of money that's raised helps keep us out of debt. And the DVFiber board is not in debt. We're not in debt at all. And we're going to try to stay out of debt as long as possible, because that makes it more expensive for us to provide service if we have to pay interest. And of course, the reason the public entity will work, and it's a window of opportunity for us in Vermont, is because we don't have stockholders or venture capitalists to have to pay back. And if we borrow money, we'll be able to borrow it on a municipal revenue bond, and that will be a reduced interest rate compared to the private sector. But we're going for the grants. Talking a lot, sorry.
Okay, but we've missed the matching part
That's right.
at this point.
That horse is.
And, or buses left the station.
Now, it is true that I will notify, if you make a donation, I will notify the VCBB. And they have a fund of 4.1 million that they're committed to matching. And I have some, some indication that if that isn't consumed by the donors, the donating towns statewide now, that then perhaps there will be an additional amount. So, I mean, it's not, I just don't want to promise you anything, because I don't think that's necessary.
The official deadline is passed.
The official deadline's passed, and that was policy by the VCBB. And I know that at 7 o'clock tonight, there's a public hearing at the Brooks Memorial Library that I want to make sure I get to.
Where I'm heading.
But, yeah, Eric's going to join me there. But I did want to say, the public should understand where this money comes from. This is all ARPA money that was that the governor and the legislature set aside. It's similar. It's just a different part of the statewide ARPA money that that each town got based on per capita. And the reason that the Vermont Community Broadband Board has this money that they can afford to match, that they can pledge to match, is because they can confirm that a number of towns in Vermont did not join a CUD. There are about 50 of them, I think. I think there are 256 towns, and maybe close to 50, that decided that they weren't interested. And actually, there are some in our county, Bellows Falls, Grafton, towns that were well-served, Athens, that were well-served by VTEL and had fiber. There really wasn't the interest or the need. And even Brattleboro, that has a lot of people well served, still has 147 or something like that people that aren't connected, don't have adequate service. So it's kind of a spotty deal. And that's,
So the residences that you think will be this service in Dummerston, you're probably not going to reach them for another year or two. Is that right?
yes.
Yeah, I think the current, and it's obviously that there's so many factors involved here, but I think what we're telling people to be realistic and conservative is that build out will not start until late '24.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up just to confirm that, what phase we're in here.
And that build out could take, you know, 2 to 3 years to cover the entire town. And part of the town might be covered, you know, prior to other parts because of the way the network is built out. But
Yeah, I had that problem in Marlboro. We have 4 fiber service areas in Marlboro that are gonna be served out of the town office cabinet. And Dummerston, I'm not that specific, I can't be that specific here, but I see that on the phases, of the 7 phases of construction we have a grant now for the first 3 phases, not quite sufficient, not sufficient to finish the 3rd phase. But your first customers in Dummerston will get connected, 257 of them according to this plan anyway, in the 4th phase. Now the 3rd phase is gonna get completed next year. So it's not that far off, but you know, for those of us who've been waiting, it's never soon enough. And then you have a group in phase 5 of 516, and then you have 196 in the 6th phase, and you even have some people connected in the 7th phase. That probably is related to people connected through Brattleboro, because Brattleboro's, you know. And you probably should be concerned about, well, where the money's going to come from. Well, the VCBB, this hearing tonight, is trying to secure and make sure that the BEAD money, which is money from the IIJA Act, infrastructure, 100 million minimum to each state for broadband, plus potentially another 50 million based on the survey we did about people not being connected to accuracy to FCC maps. That is a significant amount of money, almost equal to the original ARPA grant that we had. So we're thinking that the VCBB is hoping that they can fund at least 60% of every universal plan, and then have enough revenue from the customers to be able to qualify for revenue bond. That's why this is not just a pig in the poke or a promise. There really is some thinking muscle and some money behind it. And the legislature nor the governor want to see this fail, because they put their money and their credibility and dedication to this politically. And it doesn't matter what party you're in, people want to get connected.
Okay, and so if,
I have one more question.
Yep.
The 40 homes, is that based on the $5,000 or the $11,000?
That was the 11.
that's the 11,000.
So 5,000 would only connect half, 20.
We had requested half of that because of the potential matching grant,
Yeah.
right, which is now past the deadline, but
Exactly,
also,
right.
as
Okay.
Stephen said, still possible.
Yeah.
right, okay, and if we do the 5,500 now, that would stay in.
It possibly could match.
Or, yes, it
Still
could
could match.
possibly match, but it would be used whenever you do
That's right.
get to Dummerston.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's-
like Stephen said, that money is
This money is
dedicated
held
to
in,
the
yeah,
town.
you know, it's, well, you know, you've probably been a member of a nonprofit organization. You gotta take care of the donors and make sure that you're fulfilling their stipulations regarding the money donated. So that's the next step.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions from, anybody have any questions?
I'm just curious, do you have any paid staff? And
Oh,
can you
yeah,
talk a little bit about that?
we're pretty conservative about that. We have no office. We're not paying rent. We do
Gabby
have
works
a,
out of her house.
we works out about Gabrielle Chufreda, who is probably known to some of you because she chairs the regional commission board, and represents Guilford in that capacity. But she's our executive director full time, and she's actually not practicing, no longer practicing attorney, and out of New York real estate, and been here for 10 years, so she's well adjusted. But that's the one full-time employee. Then we have an administrative assistant who is full-time, and she's a temporarily no longer teaching math teacher, time to care of the kids at home, works from home. And then we have a part-time clerk who is a resident of Wardsboro. And that's it. It's possible that we would need eventually some greater resource in terms of financial management. A chief financial officer. We anticipate that might happen because after all, we have a grant, we're up to $25 million in terms of the money granted. And it costs about $30,000 a mile, and we have 30 miles built now as we speak. So that it'll get, to be really a pretty big job. And that may happen in cooperation with other CUDs, because there are 10 other CUDs that formed an association in the state, and they have now grant and the money to look for a staff person dedicated to the CUDs to deal with some of the financial planning, an expert that we would not be able to probably hire full-time on our own. So that's the advantage of the team effort.
And just to add to that, the customer service, when you call
Yeah,
to sign up for service or what, that's all outsourced.
Yeah, we contract for that through our partner, Great Works Internet in Biddeford, Maine. They actually are also serving the same function for the Eastern Connecticut Fiber District up by White River. And they will answer the phone, it's DVFiber. And if they don't answer the phone, you call Eric or me, because we'll get them on we'll get them on a stick. But no, that's proved to be very good. We have 4 customers since December in Reedsboro that are pilot customers, just to make sure all that functioning works properly, including the voice over internet phone and the billing process. So, we're not pretending that we know how to do this all at once. We've got to have some practice.
Thank you.
If I heard you right, you want to connect everybody in Dummerston.
Well,
this money goes to people of the poverty level.
That's what our assumption would be. Obviously, you can stipulate as you choose, but that we do have standards on that ACP program that you could quote and point out.
So if you weren't in the poverty level, you would pay like you would pay for any other organization to do your internet.
That's right. Yeah. No, we'd connect you, but the underground,
yeah,
you'd have to do that on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. The underground part
Okay.
is the landowners.
So this isn't just connecting the people that aren't quite connected with anything now, eventually.
Yeah.
But the money goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what the demand is like too. That's something that we can't predict. We're about to connect many more people in the Reedsboro in a fiber service area complete this next month, and then we move on to Stanford just so you get the big picture. I don't want to say too much more strategically because there's competitors out there trying to take our business away from us. But anyway.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you for your consideration.
Yep,
Appreciate
and we'll
it.
deal with this later on in our agenda
Sure.
tonight.
And if you will, beg to be excused because we want to try to get down. And then get it back to Marvin. The American Norway, is that it? American Marvin?
Let's see. Visitors for public comments. Visitors, public comments.
Yes,
I couldn't believe my.
I'm a visitor, I'm Ed Anthony, and I have a public comment.
Okay.
I'm here representing the Green Mountain Conservancy and the Deer Run Nature Preserve. The Nature Preserve is in the northwest corner of Dummerston. It's 913 acres in Dummerston, Newfane, and Brookline. About a quarter of that, 238 acres, are in Dummerston, in the conservation zone. We're here tonight because we're looking to purchase an additional 30 acres that are next to the preserve, up against the town line in Newfane. It's zoned.
It's in the town of Dummerston, though. It's up against them.
Yes, it's in Dummerston. And it borders Newfane, and it borders the southern part of the nature preserve. It's also zone conservation. In 2019, when we were first getting started with the nature preserve, the town meeting voted unanimously to support the first phase of the preserve. And so we're here to ask for a letter of support from the select board on the acquisition of the 30 acres. And I have information for you about that and a map that shows where that parcel is.
Great. You have one, do you have an extra copy?
I have plenty of extras.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, and this would be, let's see. You would just be looking for a letter saying,
Saying that you support the effort by the Green Mountain Conservancy to add an additional 30 acres to the nature preserve. So it's located across at the end of Camp Arden Road, across the power line, and it goes uphill from there.
okay, and you're not asking for any money from the,
Correct. We're not asking.
right? Okay.
We're not asking for any ARPA funds or anything else.
Okay. Great.
And I just wanted to note, by admitting a conflict of interest, that I'm on the board of the Green Mountain Conservancy and sold to the Conservancy with my brother the Phase 1 property, 280 acres or so, back when Deer Run Nature Preserve was established.
One of the concerns of the select board when we purchased the first piece was hunting, and we've made a real effort to be sure that there was access to hunting, and we have 12 people who have asked for permission, and we've given them permission, and we know that they're hunting on the property, and that some deer have been taken, and actually have developed some relationships with some of those hunters, which is, I think, a good thing.
Who owns the 30 acres now?
At the end of Camp Arden Road, there are Patrican descendants. So this parcel is owned by 5 siblings. 3 live in Las Vegas, and I think one's in New York and one's in New Hampshire. They got it in 1999. Their father was already dead. His brother is David Patrican and Cynthia Patrican, his wife, who have the last house on Camp Arden Road. So, and then the house just before that, which says Whippler, was also a Patrican family. So the house that we live in, Deer Run Farm, Elizabeth Whitney sold some large number of acres, I believe, to the Patricans in the 70s or so, in the 60s or 70s. And then they divided it up among their kids. So there's 113 acres that are partly in Dummerston and I think even more in Newfane, that cover the curve in the river where the Rock River meets the West River on the Dummerston side. And then there's 2 parcels which are both supposedly 29.77 acres. And one of those is is Cynthia Patrican's. That has a lot of power line on that parcel. And then the next one between that and the Newfane town line has a little corner of it that's in the right of way for the Velco line. Most of it's not. It's very steep for the most part. There's a little bit of flat land very close to the power line. There are no utilities to it, and you'd probably have to go underground because you'd have to go under the high tension wires. So you could maybe be off the grid. There's a little bit of room where something could go in there, but it's not a very prime candidate for development.
its real value is in the forest. There's some really big trees. There's one of the largest shagbark hickory forests in there. And so it's really part of the corridor that goes across southern Vermont. There's a wildlife corridor that's going to become increasingly important as with climate change and animals need to move across the landscape. So it's really ideal for this purpose.
So, what do you think, would this be something we'd have to warn?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to put it on the next
Okay.
agenda.
Okay. So would you like us to come back to that meeting?
You'd be welcome to,
Okay.
but, anyone have any more questions for them this evening?
No.
Okay, we'll put it on our agenda for our next meeting, and that will be held over at the Grange.
At the Grange?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
It's a special town meeting, the day of the special town meeting for the fire truck, so
Yeah.
that's why it will be over there.
Okay.
Not because of this, we're not expecting a lot of people.
start our meeting as usual at 6, and then we'll have our special town meeting at 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
so,
All right. Thank you.
yeah, welcome.
We'll leave you to it.
Okay, you're welcome to just hang around.
We want to go get some supper.
Okay, thanks very much.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Okay. Any other public comment?
I just wanted to comment on the Miller Fund requests.
Okay, that's coming up.
I would like to make a comment, please.
Yes.
I invite you all to come over to the Historical Society to look at our latest exhibit, which is Faces of Dummerston that Chuck has curated. And there's over 150 photos that are up, and we are looking for more pictures, so if your photo is not up, feel free to submit one so that we have one for in the future. We had over 50 people come on Sunday. Lots of interest, questions, whatever. Our following exhibit that will open probably sometime latter half of August is Artisans of Dummerston. And anybody that's a furniture maker, a painter, a rug weaver, whatever, will be invited to participate. And this is kind of a follow-up what we did maybe 15 years ago. We had over 30 artists participate then. So it's just amazing the amount of talent in this town, as we all know. So we invite you also as representatives to please show up. Thank you.
Okay, you want to mention Don's meeting on the 20th?
Oh, you can.
I would add one thing, if I might, about the Historical Society. Our quarterly meeting, July 20th, is going to be a celebration of the life of Don Hazelton. And we hope it'll be a grand party. Fran Lingard Hansen and Randy Holhut are already alerted and ready to do their good work. All of Don's kids are going to be here, including Ted from Kansas, so we expect it to be a family reunion and a community celebration of somebody who has meant a lot to this town.
Great, and that's going to be,
July 20th,
A Thursday night.
Thursday night.
okay, great. Good.
I'm gonna move over there, Chuck, so I can see them.
Okay,
I'm not reading
let's
this.
see. Ready to
Don't
move
trip
on
on
to
that.
the road frontage.
Yeah, 'cause one of
Let's
these-
see, we have, let's see, okay, the roof replacement we have under new business later on. But we,
No, that's different than this roof estimate here. That's ARPA roof, that's under ARPA. What this one was the request for, the 3 bids that I think we had 3 bids, correct?
yes, we did.
I think with 2 different,
This is just a temporary
yeah,
repair.
this is a temporary repair, and what that one down there is for a, it's a full repair that needs to come.
Okay, good, great. Okay, so the temporary repairs then, we have Walker and Company Roofing for $7,500, Brattleboro Roofing for $15,730, and Jackwood's and Son around $16,000. And we has said he'd like to go with Whopper Roofing for $7,500.
I guess so.
So my concern is that he wants to spend $7,500 just a quick fix. But then he's saying in 5 years he wants to spend $160,000 to $200,000. So my question is, why would we not move that timeline up and replace the roof now when we have ARPA funds to pay for it? Why would we spend $7,500 and then when we're all done with ARPA, then have to go to the taxpayers and ask them for $200,000? I think we should move have Lee move his timeline up, and rather than just putting a Band-Aid on it, he should get serious with the entire roof replacement.
I think he mentioned that roofers were so busy it was going to be hard to get a quick estimate on the whole replacement, but I agree with your logic here.
Because the original estimate, there was also concerns about needing chimney work done as well.
Right.
So I would hope that the $200,000 would include some chimney work, but I don't know. But I think it should, we definitely need to think about ARPA funds for the entire roof replacement. I'm not comfortable going back to the taxpayers when we're all said and done and asking for $200,000 to fix a roof that we know is a problem now.
Okay. Want to invite Lee to our next meeting to get some more detail on this?
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go.
Okay.
Because if there's any way we can wait, you know, on the roof and use the other money, that's the way I think we should definitely do it.
Unless there's a serious leak and the
Right.
$7,500 would get us through till,
Yeah. Okay, so waiting 2 weeks probably isn't going to
Right.
I don't think it's
make or
gonna make
break
any
it. So
difference.
let's invite him to our next meeting
Yeah.
and get some more information.
So in the warrants, there was reference to a lightning strike. I was curious about that. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, Lewis, do you know?
Yeah, the Green Mountain Power says they believe it was a lightning strike that hit up there between here and I think the fire station. It knocked the pole, the box from the pole, the power, which in turn knocked the generator, blew a fuse in the generator, so the generator wasn't working up there. And in turn, we had a lot of power outages up there. And still trying to get the fuel pump to work. We've actually we've been going over to Irving to fill up trucks. And that's getting very expensive.
Did the lightning protection save the generator, or was there a lot of damage?
No, really the generator was just a little blown fuse.
Okay.
So the generator is fine. The generator, we had the guy come down from past Springfield, and he came down.
Brookfield.
What's that?
Brookfield.
Brookfield, yeah, that's right. Brookfield, and he found that little fuse and put it in, ran the generator. Generator's running fine now.
Great.
It's so I think there's going to need to be some wiring done up at the up there. Just looking at what the wiring looked like when we were trying to take things apart, it does look like there's
In the building.
in the building and out to the pump.
So again, that could be
Right.
ARPA funding.
Exactly. Yeah. There's definitely
Mhm.
King Electric came in and to try to get the pump going, and he said we definitely have to do some wiring in there to get it up to code.
Great, thanks. And Zeke, at our last meeting, you were going to talk with Lee about a few things, including the idea we talked about relative to the safety problem with the curves on Middle Road.
Yes, he's waiting for a company that does rumble strips to give him a price. It would be exorbitantly expensive to have them come just to do that short stretch. So they're proposing that, or they're going to base their price on when they're doing some work, other work in the area. So, but Lee is waiting for that price to come in.
And do you know if he reached out to the state to see if the state might pay for this, since it's the work on Route 30 that's funneling all this extra traffic?
That didn't go far with the state. So, yes.
I brought up this question, and lately I've been very careful about going towards Route 5 particularly, and if you go way over, there is room, and I was wondering about moving the yellow line further over. And actually today, just as I was way over, a big vehicle came the other way, so fortunately I was way over. But
yeah, I think Lee's plan would be, if the rumble strip is feasible to do, that they would move the center line over to the west side of the road, or the outside of that curve, and then have the rumble strip.
I was also thinking that on both sides, when you're on the outside coming both ways, that if you put some locust posts in, maybe it would visualize the people that they need to be where they belong. I don't know, but it's a possibility. I don't want any more signs, but posts I won't mind.
Well, yeah, when I was coming in, I was thinking maybe we need a sign that says, really, 25 miles an hour, no joke.
Well, let's have some flashing lights too on it,
I
okay?
think it's actually 35 there, isn't it?
It is 35.
It is
Yes.
35, gee whiz, that's,
Yeah.
No, I think 45 would be about right for that corner.
at least coming
Yeah,
down.
you probably would.
And then people will go 55.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the update on the rumble strips. I'm supposed to meet with Lee to look at the Schoolhouse Road embankment.
Oh, good.
But that's Lee's working with a grant to do some stone line ditches along Kipling Road, and I think Dutton Farm Road right now.
Black Mountain Road, I think.
Black Mountain Road
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, Black Mountain, and they're gonna do Kipling and Dutton.
So he's pretty busy with that. And the other news is they went to get ready to start mowing, and there's a crack in the tractor near one of the 3-point hitch arms. And so the tractor is over at Pinnacle View. He doesn't know, it's just gone over there, so it doesn't have an estimate for repairs or a timeline for repairs. But
Is it a crack on the tractor itself or the
Yes.
3-point hitch?
yeah, a crack on the housing where that 3-point hitch arm attaches up the top. So, anything else on the road forms? Anybody else have any other questions or news, information? Okay. Is there,
Pass down those warrants.
is there anything under correspondence for information that you'd like to go over? Okay. Let's see, under correspondence for discussion and/or action, we did get a note from the Historical Society that they put in their smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And so we can let Wade Masur at PACIF know that that part's been done. I haven't heard back from the community center on how they're doing, but I'll check back in with them.
And we have also the exterior railing that's
Right,
handicap
right.
accessible.
Let's see, yeah, I'll take a look.
It's not on the ramp, it's up by the steps, which was the one that was
Okay, that
requested.
was the one.
Yeah.
Great, good. Okay,
Will you let Wade know?
yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, ready to move on? the Miller Fund, we have a request from the Dummerston school nurse for, I think it was $1,500. Miller Fund for camp for, I'm not sure how many students, I don't recall.
8 to 10.
8 to 10 students. And I sent around the current balance in the Miller Fund. I guess we had over $2,000 in interest in the past year, or in this fiscal year.
And I know in the past, we've done it for camps, for kids that, you know, and that, I mean, that's part of what the Miller Fund was set up for, so. I think it's a good cause, and I think we should, I'll actually make a motion that we, give that money to the, donate, out of the Miller Fund.
I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great.
I wanted to just, I thank you on that, because Mary Ann couldn't be here tonight because she had a class, and I checked on the interest for once. This year you got interest, last year you didn't get much of an interest. And all these kids that they're looking at are on free reduced lunch, and I think they're looking at, Putney's got quite a summer program, and I think that's where they're looking for. So thank you for doing this for these kids.
Well, we can thank Mr. Miller, who started the fund back, was it the 1920s?
Way back when.
Yeah.
So hopefully the interest will still accumulate.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let Charlotte and Mary Ann let us know that we okayed that. Under new business, we have the ARPA and the DVFiber request for $5,500. What would you like to do with that?
I move the approval of $5,550 for the DVFiber request out of the ARPA funds.
Okay, I'll second that. Okay, any discussion?
I think it was good that they came in and spoke the way they did too, because from what I got from the letter, it was a lot different than what than what they were saying. I still, I guess I wish I was on the board a lot sooner so I could have been reading up on this.
Yeah.
I, came in and caught the tail end of it last week when it was due, and so I didn't know anything about that, so.
I'm still concerned that it's helping so few individuals that we're not using the ARPA funds really for what? We're still gonna, it's not reducing the tax burden for everyone in town. It's only helping, well, in this case with only $5,000, it's only gonna help approximately 20 residences. As opposed to other projects that we've done through ARPA that have helped reduce the tax burden on everyone in town.
Right, that's been how we approach most of these things.
Right.
I'm inclined to, 5,500 isn't, pocket change, but it's not a huge amount. We've been, funding projects of the Historical Society, and I would go in favor of this one. Any other discussion?
I think my only discussion would be would be, I would like to at least kick it down the road. I don't think it's gonna matter if we kick it down the road 2 more weeks because of where it is, so I can get more familiar with it, read more on it myself. That would be my feeling on it, because of the way, you've been saying the ARPA money's been being handed out, and I mean, it would have been 40 people if we had,
Yeah.
if we'd been on the ball and done it when we should have done it. And it'd be nice to find out too if there is gonna be a match to that. So I would like to just hold off on it for at least 2 weeks so I can,
Okay.
Well, we potentially have some huge expenses coming up with the highway garage. I mean, if we have to wire that whole building, replace the whole roof, I mean, the ARPA, and there's still a lot of expenses for the community center yet. I think the balance of the ARPA funds is gonna disappear very, very quickly.
Well, we haven't cut a check for the Historical Society yet. We could-
But you voted for it.
Exactly.
You've committed to it. Actually, may I ask another
Yes,
question
yes.
on the ARPA funds? And is there an accounting, current accounting
Yes.
of,
Yeah, I was supposed to send that to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
do you think you could include it in the minutes?
Sure, yeah.
And then everybody can see
Sure.
how much
Yeah.
has been expended and what is left. I don't know that you need to itemize what it's, but just how much has been committed and what is the amount remaining in the funds.
so I guess I would sort of like to see where it was
Okay.
committed to, just for the purpose of seeing if we have been keeping it consistent on, you know,
The purpose of it.
the purpose of it, yes.
Okay, yeah, if you could include that in the minutes, I think a number
Sure.
of people are
Yeah.
interested. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. You can either go ahead and vote on it, or we can withdraw the motion and, you know, put this on an agenda, future agenda.
Yeah, for the next one.
I think it would be voted down if we went ahead and voted for it, so I'd rather table it.
Okay,
So I withdraw the motion.
all right, so we'll put it on a future agenda. And
And I'll just say my one concern about about not waiting for the potential match, as you mentioned, is that it may be if more money's appropriated for matching grants, that'll be only for future requests, not past requests. In other words, they may not retroactively provide that match. So that might be good to find out if you're
Right,
digging
yes.
into that.
Right, to see, yes, exactly.
okay, so that's table for now. We still have Green Mountain Camp. They have, let's see, they sent us a note reducing their request to 20,000 and some change.
I feel the same way about this as I do DVFiber. It's not benefiting the taxpayers in Dummerston, although fine organization, I think it's great, but it's not gonna help reduce the tax burden of residents.
Okay. Any other discussion about that?
I mean, it's a great organization. I think they do great work, but it's a big chunk of money, and as Maria mentions, there are other big costs coming up that relate to taxpayers throughout the town, so.
Okay. I can get back to them and let them know that we're not going to approve that 20,000. Let's see. Okay, and we talked about the highway garage roof replacement. We'll ask Lee to come in at our next meeting and see about what it would take to do the whole roof, or whether, you know, patching it with a 7,500 is something that's necessary to do right now.
Good.
Okay.
Do you know how old that roof is?
I bet it's as old as the building.
It'll
Is
be
it 30 years?
30 years.
Oh, is it?
Next year,
Oh, okay,
2024
yeah.
is 30 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I think it's when we got our building over here.
Okay, all right, well, this let's see, we have an open select board seat right here. And we have, we've interviewed,
With 2 candidates.
yep,
And I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Todd Davison to the position.
I'll second that.
okay, any discussion?
I think we had 2 good candidates
I
that
think we
came,
had 2 good candidates.
that came in for that, and I think
No,
Who was the other one, if I may ask?
Thomas Nolan.
Oh, yes, right, Tom Snow. I was
Don't want to say it like that.
oh, Thomas, okay,
Tom
yeah.
Snow, right, so we had 3 candidates.
would
He
have
was on the
been
school board.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
he was very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had a wealth of talent.
We've already talked on the energy committee about how we want to try to pull
Yeah,
him
that's
into the
where he
energy
belongs.
committee if he doesn't get named to the select board.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you kind of promised Todd at the last meeting that he was going to be picked, so I was wondering how you might get out of that if you were going to,
When was that?
I don't think
at
we
the big
promised
meeting
it.
over at the,
Oh, I wasn't there, and I hadn't, I mean,
you were there?
I wasn't at that meeting when they told Todd that he was gonna be,
Yeah.
I came for the
I
special.
don't recall.
You can look back at the videos from BCTV.
No, because, I mean, the first thing I said was that we need to interview anybody that comes in, and we have
Yeah.
to start the process over, and that's, yeah, so, I didn't know that anybody said anything to,
They did, so.
Okay, I think we then had Thomas come along, and so
I think he came along afterwards.
so-
but-
we had to open the process up again.
right when we had another resignation.
Right.
So, a motion, all those, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I shall let him know the glad tidings.
Great.
Great. Okay. Let's see. I guess, we, Charlotte has offered to become an acting lister. Sort of help out, you know, in the meantime. What would you like to do?
I'd make a motion that we appoint Charlotte as an acting lister.
I'll second it.
I
Okay.
think that's really to help out with Jean wanting to
Transition
retire,
out.
and, yes, so,
Retire again, I guess.
yeah, exactly, so she wants another party, I think, too, so.
Yeah.
Now, will this be just till town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Well, I'll let Charlotte know. Great. Okay. She had been a lister before, so. There's a request from the gathering place to hold what is it, a 4-mile
Yes.
run on September 9th. And their route, I guess they leave from campfires and they run down Route 5 for a little while, go down Houghton Road, then North Hollow, and then back. And I guess I haven't heard any complaints in the past 2 years.
And they were asking to use cones?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was their request, really.
I guess they can, if we approve it, then they could go to Lee and ask.
Since it's a state highway, is there any issue with the state that they're dealing with?
No,
Not
I
that-
think
that
they've
affects
passed the
us.
sheriff.
I think they have a sheriff at
Both have
both
two- yeah,
intersections when
Yeah.
they cross Route 5.
right. So I'll make a motion that we grant them, I guess request to do their 4-mile run again.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great.
We sort of do that funny, you know.
What?
We have the discussion, then we make the
Yeah.
motion, and then
And
we,
then-
no, we have no discussion.
Okay, I'll let her know. Okay, we have the sheriff's department's new contract for the following year. Let that go. And the animal control, which is also done by the sheriff's department for the next fiscal year. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion that we sign the Wyndham County Sheriff's contract and the Animal Control Officer contract.
Any discussion?
Need a second.
Oh, right.
I'll second that.
Okay, now any discussion?
How long have they been the animal control?
I think for about a year now.
It's actually worked really well.
Yes.
What role was Ron DeSpec playing? Is that
He is our pound keeper,
housekeeper?
which is more a ceremonial position.
Zeke was the animal control officer for
Yes,
several
Wayne
years.
Emery and I were the animal control officers for a number of years.
So Zeke, how much is the contract for the sheriff's department?
Uh,
And do they indicate number of hours that they're
Yes.
going to devote?
The sheriff's department, it's going up $4 an hour to $62 an hour,
Okay, thank you.
for a total of $17,980 for the fiscal year. And the contract is for providing service for 24 hours a month
Thank you.
total. The animal control, they are, let's see, a total of $4,470 for the fiscal year.
The reason I ask for some of this information, there are more people than you would think or expect that do review these tapes. And they like to know the information. They don't get in the office, and I don't often either, to read through all this. So it's helpful to have it stated here, so thank you.
I agree with
Thank you.
yeah. Let's see. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Before we move on, under new business, Charlotte did ask me two things. One was ARPA for the highway money, because they're probably going to go over budget before the new fiscal year. And of course, we can vote on that next week, because, in 2 weeks, because if we're gonna use ARPA money to cover up whatever they went over on their budget, if they go over. I guess they're pretty close right now. And the other thing she wanted to bring up was the last day of the year to appoint somebody to sign warrants
Right.
for the last day of the fiscal year.
Mhm.
So, and we can do that at the next meeting also. I'm just something to.
Sure.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
When the road foreman, the road crew has a surplus at the end of the year, where does that go?
When the highway department has a surplus, it goes back into
Back
the,
into the highway budget.
So it's in the highway fund?
and after, I guess, 2 years, it shows up as,
Right.
a surplus that we apply to offset taxes raised. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we'll do those at our next meeting,
Right.
which is on the 28th. Okay. Let's see, we've done that. Okay.
Library.
Library, good. I was getting all excited about becoming the liquor commission again. The librarian, the Lydia Taft Pratt Librarian has asked to use the town common on July 9th, I think that's the date, for the summer reading program. There's going to be a performer that will,
July 6th.
July 6th, okay. What would you like to do?
I move that we allow the library to use the town common on July 6th for that event. Sounds like a good cause.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? I would just say that, they clean up afterwards.
That won't interfere with anything I'm assuming, isn't that a Thursday? Day of the week is that?
I think,
It won't interfere with anything maybe going on at the office, right? It's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so.
yeah, I think. I don't know of anything going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a Thursday.
okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Aye.
let Nina know. Okay, now,
All right, I'll make a motion that we recess the meeting and convene as a liquor control board.
Second.
Let's go.
okay, there's a liquor special event permit request for Putney Winery to be at the KOA Campground on Route 5 on June 24th and July 1st.
I'll make a motion that we approve the liquor special event request from Putney Mountain Winery for events at KOA Campground on 6/24 and 7/1.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
So I'll make a motion that we adjourn as the liquor control board and reconvene the meeting.
Second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Before you go on, could I ask a procedural question?
yes.
I'm not quite sure how you handle running a meeting, but a motion is made and it's seconded,
Yes,
and then there's discussion.
right.
Now, what if a member of the public has something to do with the has some discussion to have? Do you allow that, or is the member of the public only allowed to speak on this recognition of visitors and public
If you
comment?
have something to add when we're discussing anything, if you catch the attention of the chair, they will generally allow you to speak.
Okay, because tonight a few times I've not been able to catch the attention of the chair without screaming out, and I don't want to do that.
Well, that would,
So,
yes,
so
yes,
it is-
unruly.
yes, I can be very unruly.
And we have the constant right here.
You're looking at this, how old woman here, to
Oh,
be
come on.
unruly. I just wondered, because some boards do it one way, some boards do it another way, and I was just asking. So it's just get your attention. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you very much.
Very welcome. Okay, here we are, back as the select board. Is there any other new business?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
I don't know.
See, I wanted to get in there because I knew Maria was going to make that motion.
Right, we were just.
Couldn't have you been quicker, Maria? So we can have to hear it?